Hey, welcome back to another episode of Inner Monologues. Doing nothing is also being productive. When was the last time you actually did nothing? Not scrolling, not reading, not listening, not even trying to meditate, just existed. See, I'm sure you've come across these reels on Instagram. They are sitting in front of the camera, recording themselves and doing nothing. Like they're just staring at the wall. It's like they're not even watching a movie, reading a book. They're not even trying to meditate. They're just existing for a few minutes or few hours, like whatever the person is doing. It's really strange, we think, but they say that they want to fix their attention span and things like that. It's a strange question because we've forgotten what nothing feels like. The moment there is silence, we reach for stimulation. Every empty space has become something to fill. Walking, you need songs, or you need a podcast, or a audiobook, or you're sitting in the metro, we want songs or movies or series. If you're in the shower, you're playing music in the background. If you're reading a book, there's music in the background. You're studying, there is study music. If you're sleeping, there is white noise. There's new term people keep saying, white noise, or what, blue noise or gray noise. Really weird things I've heard. Instrumental music, everything, the soundtrack to the life. I absolutely agree with the fact that music makes life so much better. I love it too. I really wish, just like movies, I had like every key moment in my life, some really good song plays. Yeah, but we are not producing anything. We're just consuming content or some sort of stimulation all the time. It's crazy. Our human bodies are not meant to work that way. It's like, I don't understand how do we come into this. See, when you're not focused on a task, like, okay, before I get in that part, what do I mean by nothing? I mean something that you're not doing productive. What you define as productive, only you know that. According to me, I genuinely believe in this. If there's a season or like a time period in your life that you feel like, okay, these many days I'm just doing nothing, there's nothing happening in my life, like I'm not doing anything, and I'm not studying, I'm not chilling, I'm not relaxing, those kind of times are the most precious. I feel that the more longer that period lasts, the more longer you're going to get productive really soon. Why? Because I believe the small meaning, not small, sometimes it's a considerable large amount of time. Sometimes it might be inconvenient to have those nothing period of nothingness. It's like the most meaningful things that you create tomorrow will begin with the most meaningless minutes that you spend today. What do I mean for that? When you're doing nothing, you're not wasting time. You're making room for better thoughts, deeper creativity, and sustainable focus, or you're recovering from long periods of intense workout, or some kind of really productive stuff you did that your brain needed a gap. It wanted it, or it was waiting for a chance to chill down, cool down, so that you can start something much better. Doing nothing should not be seen as unproductive. It has to be seen as a stage of incubation or a period of waiting time to pounce upon the next proper opportunity. It's like, if you allow yourself to truly rest in this period of nothingness without guilt, without trying to make the rest time productive, something interesting often happens. Once the craving for rest is satisfied, your mind will naturally want to engage again. You don't have to force motivation as much as you've stopped fighting exhaustion. See, the fastest way to get back to work is to stop working. I know it sounds crazy, and I keep coming back to the thought, like when I'm having my period of nothingness, like just bed rotting, I'm just watching reels or just scrolling. You're like, what is the point in scrolling reels? If you sleep, at least your body is going to think. The thing is a difference between physical exhaustion and mental exhaustion. After intense period of something that I did, everybody's intensity varies. So if suppose I did something really intense, or my brain is just exhausted, bed rotting, or just screen like reel scrolling, it will my mind is not going to do much thinking. It's just unwinding. I know people might argue with it, but if that's what my brain wants for a few days or few hours, I would give it, because I know I will get back to it, my original, what I would need to do very quick. Many of the things that seem completely meaningless, even like daydreaming or wandering, or just sitting in silence, watching the clouds or taking an aimless walk, they become the fuel for most meaningful work. When I take a walk, no gadgets, like no earphones, no audiobooks, no podcast, no songs, I get a lot of ideas. I connect with nature, I connect with myself. Artists call that inspiration, scientists call it incubation, psychologists simply know that stepping away from a problem often improves their ability to solve it. The quiet moments that look unproductive from the outside are often when are where the invisible work is happening. I guess we need to stop asking ourselves, like, what did I do in the last 10 minutes, what did I do in the last 2 hours? Instead, did I give my mind enough space to think? Doing nothing isn't wasting time. Please tell it to everybody who says, like, don't do nothing. I mean, go do some work, something, something, something. Tell them that you're making room for better thoughts, deeper creativity, you're improving your focus. It's very, 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 very important. See, we live in a world that treats like idleness or doing nothing like a bug in the system. Every spare minute has to be filled. Like I said, waiting in line, we scroll. If you're walking, we play a podcast, song. Silence has become something that we avoid. I've seen those reels, like, I'm fine as long as I block out every single thought that I have in my mind. It's so sad to listen to that. Our brains are not designed for constant stimulation or input or consumption of media. Neuroscientists have identified something called the default mode network, DMN. It's a network of brain regions that becomes active when you're not focused on a specific task. It is not doing nothing. During quiet moments, your brain is organizing memories, connecting ideas, processing emotions, or even solving problems in the background. That's why some of the best ideas don't arrive when you're sitting at your desk. It arrives when you're in the shower, or taking a walk, or you're staring out of a bus window, metro window, whatever. See, it's easy to forget, rest about rest, like you don't need rest and stuff, but you're human. It's a genuine human need. It's not a reward that you need to earn. I agree sometimes, that's how you push yourself, like, I'll do this and then I'll get a reward. I get it. But you should not be forcing motivation, and you should not be fighting exhaustion. There are two different things. You should not fight exhaustion. If you're exhausted, if you prolong your rest, it's just going to make things worse. When you allow yourself to do nothing, you're giving your brain time to process the information that you need or you've already consumed. It's like very important thing I feel. When people tell me like they feel bad, I'm like, don't feel bad. You're going to do so much more if you actually do proper so-called time wasting. Don't feel guilty at all. It's important for your body. And that's crazy. Like, people, even taking rest, people are guilty about it. That's why, researchers, even the concept of sleep, when researchers found out that getting less than 6 hours of sleep each night is like it's going to make things worse. More sleep you need, more rest you need. That's very much important. And if you're going to work too much, it's going to be associated with low morale, depression, sleep deprivation, disengagement. So over time, your productivity will suffer. Instead of taking rest, if you keep pushing yourself, whatever you're doing is also going to be doing wrong. You won't be able to do full percent. You can't be maximizing your gains. Because to maximize your gains from long-term practice or things want to do, you're doing, you must avoid exhaustion and be able to do it 100%. So if you keep trying to fight exhaustion, saying no, you're not exhausted, you will not be able to give the 100%. Your resting state is a powerful tool for regulating your emotions and maintaining the ability to focus. Rest will also help you make better decisions and be more productive. See, resting is exactly the opposite of not being productive. It's exactly productive. Rest is equal to productiveness because it benefits your creativity, your decision making skills, and when you're resting, you'll be able to have a bird's view, not bird's view, like a eagle's view. Basically, you're going bigger than the problem or getting detached. Like, let's say I want to give a like how I want to describe this. Let's assume you're walking around the streets, okay, finding for a particular, if I trying to identify how big is your layout or your neighborhood. If you're walking each street, you don't know the map, you don't have a map in your hand, okay, you're walking each street, so you're inside your mind, you're trying to find like, okay, if I go left, this is there, right, this is there, that street, this street, like that. But if let's say you're hovering above the neighborhood, you get a bigger picture, like you can see from top only how where are the streets, which direction, which street is here, which street is there, which shop is here, which shop is there, which building, all of that from a greater distance. So I feel like rest can be compared to that. Rest is like going or hovering above your problem, so you're getting detached from the problem, but you're not letting go of the whatever you're working on, so you get a different perspective, you get a lot of perspective shift. See, doing nothing can involve a lot of things. It can mean remaining still or doing completely unrelated activity. Some way to let your mind rest, for heaven's sake, guys. Like, take a walk, go for a drive, read a book, shut your brain off for some time. Regular breaks is necessary. Having regular breaks helps you a lot. When you oscillate between focused work and relaxation time, you can come back to your task renewed. You can set a timer if it helps. I think the biggest challenge is simply to learn to say no to unimportant tasks and having the right priorities. It's very important. Letting your brain rest can trigger more imaginative thoughts and ideas. It's this kind of thing that happens to me. Like, I push myself too hard sometimes. I take breaks, or not like I'm a workaholic or I have to study. I don't know all that all the time, but sometimes I feel guilty about it, and it just affects my work anyways. Instead, I could just take a break and come back and do much better. That's best, I think. Whenever I do that, I feel at peace. I'm not fighting internally. I think internal peace is the most valuable thing anybody can have. Okay, what else do I want to cover in this episode? What is nothingness? What do you want? I said doing unrelated activity. All of that is very, very important, and you will automatically come so many ideas. No, what was the buoyancy force, that thing, when the guy who was like sitting in his tub, he got his idea when he was like going for a bath. He was like he sat down and then the water came out, and by a guy I mean Archimedes, of course. So he was like sitting in his tub or what public bath, and then he saw that the water was being displaced by his body weight, and that's how he got that entire idea, right? He was not sitting in his desk and thinking, he was outside and he noticed it because his mind was still. Another example, Newton, the apple falling on his head. If an apple has fell on hundreds of people's head, would he have noticed? Would everybody notice? We know Newton because he brought something into it. That's what I'm saying. If you detach from your problem but not abandon it, you will get more ideas and you will get what you want to do. Giving your brain rest is very much important. If you try to shove things down your throat, it will not go. But if you let yourself not eat for some time and give it when your body craves for food, you will easily go inside even without water, isn't it? That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Your heart doesn't spend its entire life contracting. Between every beat is a pause, and without that pause there is no next beat. Why do we expect more from ourselves than we expect from nature? That's really crazy. We should give ourselves cut yourself some slack. I always say this to someone. I don't know if she's listening, but yeah. If you truly allow yourself to do nothing, not because you've earned it, but because you're human, the craving to rest slowly disappears. And when it disappears, curiosity will return. And when curiosity returns, you have the energy to pursue it again. And then the desire to create returns. You stop dragging yourself to work. Your work starts pulling you towards itself. See, maybe discipline isn't always forcing yourself to keep going. Sometimes it's trusting yourself enough to stop. And as I said before, the thing that fascinates me the most, the moments that appear completely meaningless are often the ones that quietly shape everything meaningful. That aimless walk that I took, the long metro ride, where I'm just simply staring at the window, or the afternoon I spent watching the rain, or the evening I'm sitting in the garden or the terrace. The conversation that I have with my friends is like about nothing. in the silence before the sleep. Nothing seems to happen, all of this. But these are the moments that became stories, or gave me ideas, gave me like things I want to do, or I made life changing decisions. Because meaning rarely arrives when we are chasing it, it arrives in the space in between. We have become experts at consuming stuff, but creativity doesn't come from constant consumption, it comes from digestion, and digestion requires stillness. Perhaps that's why every great tradition, from philosophers to poets, from monks to scientists, has protected solitude and silence. Not because silence contains answers, but it's because one of the few places where we can finally hear them. So maybe doing nothing isn't the opposite of productivity. Maybe it's the soil from which productivity itself grows. Maybe the most meaningful part of your life will always be rooted in moments that looked completely meaningless while they were happening. So, today, leave one moment empty. Don't reach for your phone. Don't fill the silence. Let your mind wander without demanding that it justify itself. Because some things can only find you when you stop looking. And perhaps the before I said that line, I said when you stop looking, right? It's just like the call. If you're calling somebody and they're also calling you at the same time, for both of you is going to show busy. If you're not going to call and then they are calling, the call will eventually come to you. Wow, that was actually nice. The most productive thing you'll do today maybe is nothing at all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Bye bye.